1. We're diving into a classic American muscle car that's up for grabs on Craigslist. Get ready to feast your eyes on a 1982 Chevrolet Camaro Z28, and it could be yours for just $5,500. Now, let's talk about the condition of this beauty. The seller claims it's in excellent shape, and from what I can see, it looks pretty darn good. The ad mentions that it drives like a dream, which is always a plus. I mean, who doesn't love a car that purrs like a kitten on the road? Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine, ready to roar to life. And with rear-wheel drive, you'll feel that classic muscle car experience every time you hit the gas. The odometer shows 132,000 miles, which isn't bad at all for a car that's over 40 years old. It's clear that this Camaro has been well loved and cared for throughout its life. The exterior boasts a sleek gray paint job that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. And the best part? The title is clean, so you won't have to worry about any pesky legal issues. Now here's the exciting bit. This Camaro is a first-year, third-generation model, which means it's got some serious collector's value. The seller even mentions that with a little TLC, you could bring this car back to its former showroom glory. Imagine rolling up to a classic car show in this vintage beauty. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic American muscle car with plenty of potential, this 1982 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 might just be the one for you. At $5,500, it's a steal for a piece of automotive history. But don't wait too long, because a deal like this won't last forever. As always, I encourage you to check out the car in person, take it for a test drive, and maybe even bring along a mechanic friend to give it a once-over. Trust me, it's worth doing your due diligence when it comes to classic cars. 2. We've got a real treat for you. A 1975 Ford Ranchero that's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $9,900. This classic utility vehicle is a true gem, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. First things first, let's talk about the condition. The seller claims it's in excellent shape, and based on the information provided, I have no reason to doubt them. The ad mentions that the Ranchero underwent a complete repaint in 2023, which means it's looking fresh and ready to impress. Now, let's pop the hood and see what's powering this beauty. You'll find a beefy 400 V8 engine, which is sure to provide plenty of oomph when you hit the gas. And with rear-wheel drive, you'll get that classic, responsive driving experience that's synonymous with American muscle. The odometer shows just 78,000 miles, which is pretty low for a vehicle that's nearly 50 years old. This suggests that the Ranchero has been well maintained and cherished by its previous owners. The exterior is finished in a striking green paint job that's sure to make you stand out from the crowd. And with a clean title, you can rest assured that there are no hidden surprises lurking in this vehicle's past. What really sets this Ranchero apart is its originality. The seller claims it's all original, which is a rare find in the world of classic cars. This means that you're getting a piece of automotive history that's been preserved in its purest form. Now, I know what you might be thinking, $9,900 is a lot of money for an old car. But hear me out. The Ford Ranchero is a unique and highly sought-after vehicle that's becoming increasingly hard to find in such great condition. And with its original features and low mileage, this particular Ranchero is a true collector's item. Of course, as with any used car purchase, I always recommend doing your due diligence. Take the Ranchero for a test drive, have a mechanic inspect it, and make sure everything checks out before you sign on the dotted line. 3. We've got a real treat for you. A 1972 Pontiac Lemon that's up for grabs on Craigslist for $14,650. This classic muscle car is a true head-turner, and I can't wait to dive into the details. First off, let's talk about the condition. The seller describes it as a nice old Lemon that runs and drives great. While it's not a show car, the paint job is said to be shiny and eye-catching, drawing plenty of looks on the road. However, it's important to note that there are some chips here and there around the body, as well as the usual bubbling under the vinyl top and rust around the rear window. The rear wheel wells also have a bit of bubbling at the bottom back on both sides. Now let's pop the hood and see what's powering this beauty. The Le Mans comes with a period-correct, or possibly original, 350 motor. paired with a turbo 350 transmission and a non-posi rear end. The seller mentions that the car has undergone lots of recent work, including a new alternator, master brake cylinder, cam, lifters, timing chain, transmission mount, tail shaft seal, and front and rear sway bars. This suggests that the car has been well maintained and cared for. The interior is described as pretty cool for a bench seat car, although the dash pad has a cover due to cracks. The odometer shows 79,078 miles, which is relatively low for a car of this age. One unique feature of this Le Mans is that it's a factory AC car, with all the components still in place. However, the AC currently does not work, and part of the AC wiring harness may be missing. The seller is upfront about the car's imperfections, mentioning that there are a lot of little things to mess with, such as replacing dash lights and a window crank. This honesty is refreshing and helps potential buyers understand exactly what they're getting. Located in Everett, Washington, the seller is open to meeting along the way if you're coming from out of town. They even suggest that it could be a fun drive home if you're coming from another state, with trailering being optional. Now, let's talk price. At $14,650, this 1972 Pontiac Le Mans is not the cheapest classic car out there. However, considering its overall condition, recent maintenance, and the fact that it's a factory AC car, the price seems fair for a piece of American muscle car history. 4. We've got an interesting find on Craigslist. A 1973 Oldsmobile Toronado that's up for grabs for just $2,700. This classic American luxury coupe is a real gem, and I'm excited to share the details with you. First off, let's talk about the condition. The seller describes it as an easy restoration project, which suggests that while it may not be in perfect shape, it's a solid starting point for someone looking to bring a classic car back to life. The body has some rust, but the seller assures us that it's not bad. One of the most impressive aspects of this Toronado is its originality. The seller claims that all 67,000 miles on the odometer are original, and that it's been a one-owner car stored in a garage since 1993. This low mileage and single ownership history are definitely selling points for any classic car enthusiast. Under the hood, you'll find a beefy 455 motor paired with an automatic transmission. The seller mentions that the car starts up and moves, which is a good sign. They also note that the gas tank is clean, which is important for any car that's been sitting for a while. The interior is said to be in good condition, which is impressive considering the car's age. The seller also mentions that they have all the necessary documents, including a clean title in hand. The car has been on planned non-operation, P&O status since 1993, which means there are no DMV back fees to worry about. Now, here's a cool bonus. The seller also has a set of brand new custom Boyd rims in the box, specifically designed for this car. They're willing to include these in the sale, which could be a nice addition for the right buyer. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, I always recommend doing your due diligence. Take the car for a test drive, have a mechanic inspect it, and make sure you're comfortable with the level of restoration work needed. At $2,700, this 1973 Oldsmobile Toronado seems like a solid deal for someone looking for a restoration project with a lot of potential. The low mileage, single ownership history, and included custom rims sweeten the deal even further. 5. We've got a real treat for you, a 1969 Chevrolet El Camino that's up for grabs on eBay for $15,000. This classic pickup car hybrid is a true head-turner, and I can't wait to dive into the details. First off, let's talk about the mileage. With 96,178 miles on the odometer, this El Camino has seen some action, but it's still got plenty of life left in it. The seller mentions that the vehicle starts well and drives, which is always a good sign. Under the hood, you'll find a Chev 350 engine paired with a TH350 transmission and a B&M shifter. This combination should provide plenty of power and a smooth driving experience. The seller also notes that the car has a new battery and spark plugs, which shows that it's been well maintained. Now let's talk about the interior. The El Camino features a tilt wheel and a Grant steering wheel, adding a touch of style and comfort to the driving experience. The seller mentions that the interior has new carpet and an upholstered seat, although the seat cover is currently being used for protection. One of the most unique features of this El Camino is its one-of-a-kind oak bed. The seller explains that the bed was partially removed when they purchased the vehicle, so they added a steel frame and epoxied 2 oak slabs into the bed. This custom touch really sets this El Camino apart from the rest. The seller is upfront about the vehicle's imperfections, mentioning that there is minimal surface rust with a few dents and dings. However, they assure potential buyers that it's a solid car with no major rust issues. They also note that some attention to detail on accessories would be welcome, such as new headlights. Another cool feature is that the rear bed hatch can be accessed from inside the vehicle, adding a level of convenience and functionality. The El Camino comes with a clean vehicle title, and the seller is willing to provide a video of the vehicle running upon request, which shows their transparency and confidence in the car's condition. At $15,000, this 1969 Chevrolet El Camino is priced fairly for a classic vehicle with a unique custom bed and a solid mechanical foundation. As always, I recommend doing your due diligence before making a purchase. Ask for that video of the car running, and if possible, have a mechanic inspect it to ensure you're comfortable with its condition. 6. We've got a real gem on our hands. A 1966 Dodge Dart 270 wagon that's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $5,800. This classic American wagon is a true time capsule, and I can't wait to share the details with you. First off, let's talk about the history of this Dart. It's a 2-owner vehicle, which is always a good sign when it comes to classic cars. The seller mentions that it was driven by a lady who worked at JCPenney for 30 years, which suggests that it was well cared for during its early life. Now let's talk about the mileage. The odometer shows 109,000 miles, which is pretty impressive for a car that's over 50 years old. However, here's where it gets interesting. At around 80,000 miles, the previous owner had a crate motor installed. The current Slant 6 motor only has 26,000 miles on it, which is a huge selling point for any classic car enthusiast. The seller has gone through the car since they picked it up, and they assure potential buyers that it runs and drives well. In fact, it's currently registered and insured, which means you could drive it home today. The exterior of the Dart is finished in a classic yellow paint job, which really makes it stand out from the crowd. The seller doesn't mention any major rust issues or body damage, which is always a good sign for a car of this age. Under the hood, you'll find that fresh Slant 6 motor paired with a manual transmission. This combination should provide a fun and engaging driving experience while still being relatively easy to maintain. The seller invites potential buyers to come take a look and drive the Dart, which shows their confidence in the car's condition. As always, I recommend taking them up on that offer. Get a feel for how the car drives and make sure you're comfortable with its overall condition. At $5,800, this 1966 Dodge Dart 270 wagon seems like a solid deal for a classic American wagon with a fresh crate motor and a clean title. It's the kind of car that you could enjoy driving on weekends or even use as a fun daily driver if you're feeling adventurous. 7. We've got a real treat for you. A 1971 Ford Mustang that's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $8,950. This classic pony car is a true icon, and I'm excited to dive into the details. First off, let's talk about the condition. The seller describes this Mustang as running and looking good, which is always a promising start. They don't mention any major issues or damage, so it seems like this classic is ready to hit the road. Under the hood, you'll find a 302 V8 engine, which is a classic Mustang power plant. This engine is known for its solid performance and reliability, so you can expect a fun and engaging driving experience. The seller also mentions that the car has upgraded mufflers, which should give it a nice, throaty exhaust note. The exterior of this Mustang is finished in a beautiful blue paint job, which really makes it stand out from the crowd. The seller doesn't provide any close-up photos, so it's hard to gauge the exact condition of the paint and body. However, based on the overall description, it seems like this Mustang presents well. Moving on to the interior, the seller mentions that it's also finished in blue, which should complement the exterior nicely. Again, without more detailed photos, it's hard to assess the exact condition of the interior. However, the seller does mention an upgraded sound system, which is a nice modern touch in a classic car. The odometer shows 120,000 miles, which is relatively low for a car that's over 50 years old. Of course, it's important to keep in mind that this is still a classic car, and it may require more maintenance and care than a newer vehicle. One of the biggest selling points of this Mustang is its clean California title. This means that the car has no major accidents or damage reported, and it should be easier to register and insure than a car with a salvage or rebuilt title. At $8,950, this 1971 Ford Mustang seems like a fair deal for a classic pony car in apparently good condition. It's the kind of car that you could enjoy driving on weekends, or even use as a fun daily driver if you're feeling adventurous. 8. We've got a real gem on our hands. A 1962 Pontiac Tempest, affectionately named Ruby, that's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $7,000. This vintage beauty is sure to turn heads and steal hearts wherever she goes. First off, let's talk about the history of this Tempest. The seller has had Ruby for over a decade, and it's clear that she holds a special place in their heart. They even mention that she was once their daily driver, which speaks volumes about her reliability and charm. Under the hood, you'll find a 4-cylinder engine, which was a unique offering for American cars of this era. The seller mentions that Ruby starts and runs reliably, which is a testament to the care and maintenance she's received over the years. The exterior of this Tempest is finished in a stunning red paint job that's sure to catch the eye of any classic car lover. The seller doesn't mention any major rust issues or body damage, which is always a good sign for a car of this age. Moving on to the interior, the seller is upfront about the fact that the front seats and carpeting need some work. However, they also mention that they have a custom Bluetooth radio that looks stock, which they never got around to installing. This could be a fun project for the next owner to tackle, adding a modern touch to this classic ride. One of the biggest selling points of this Tempest is the work that's been done to keep her running strong. The seller mentions that they've had the transmission, starter motor, and carburetor rebuilt, and that the brakes and pads have been replaced. This shows that Ruby has been well cared for and is ready for her next adventure. The odometer shows just 64,000 miles, which is incredibly low for a car that's over 60 years old. Of course, it's important to verify the accuracy of the mileage, but if it's true, it's a huge selling point for any classic car enthusiast. At $7,000, this 1962 Pontiac Tempest seems like a fair deal for a vintage car with a clean title and a strong mechanical foundation. It's the kind of car that you could enjoy driving on weekends or even use as a fun daily driver like the seller once did. 9. We've got a real treat for you. A 1969 Ford Galaxie 500 that's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $6,500. This vintage beauty has been cherished by its current owner for the past 15 years, and now it's ready to find a new home and make new memories. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Galaxie. The seller describes it as being in good condition, which is always a promising sign for a car that's over 50 years old. They mention that it runs and drives smoothly, and that it's been well maintained with up-to-date services. This suggests that the car has been loved and cared for throughout its life. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine, which is a classic choice for American cars of this era. The seller doesn't specify the exact engine size, but it's likely a 390 or 429 cubic inch V8, which should provide plenty of power and torque. The car also features a smooth shifting automatic transmission and rear-wheel drive, making it a true classic American cruiser. The exterior of this Galaxie is finished in a bright yellow paint job that's sure to turn heads wherever it goes. The seller doesn't mention any major rust issues or body damage, which is always a good sign for a car of this age. Of course, it's important to inspect the car in person to get a full sense of its condition. Moving on to the interior, the seller mentions that the car is really comfortable, which is a testament to the spacious and well-appointed cabin that Ford was known for in this era. Without seeing photos, it's hard to gauge the exact condition of the interior, but based on the overall description, it seems like it should be in good shape. The odometer shows 147,000 miles, which is relatively high for a car of this age. However, the seller's long-term ownership and commitment to maintenance suggest that the car has been well cared for throughout its life. It's important to keep in mind that this is still a classic car, and it may require more upkeep and attention than a newer vehicle. One of the biggest selling points of this Galaxy is the fact that it comes with a clean title. This means that the car has no major accidents or damage reported, and it should be easier to register and insure than a car with a salvage or rebuilt title. 10. We're diving into a classic American ride that's up for grabs on Craigslist. Get ready to feast your eyes on a 1963 Chevrolet Nova, and it can be yours for just $4,500. Now let's get real for a moment. This Nova isn't in pristine condition, but that's part of its charm. The seller is upfront about it needing some TLC, and I respect that honesty. They mention that the body is pretty straight, with minimal rust, which is a big plus for a car of this age. The bumpers and grille are looking nice too. Under the hood, you'll find a 250 engine paired with a Power Glide automatic transmission. The seller says they're both in good shape with no smoke or leaks, so that's a relief. The odometer shows 74,000 miles, but it's rolled over, so the true mileage is a mystery. Adds to the intrigue, right? The seller also notes that the brakes are good, but the car needs new tires. Hey, that's an easy fix. And of course, this Nova needs to be restored. But that's the beauty of classic cars. You get to put your own stamp on them and bring them back to their former glory. One thing to keep in mind, the seller prefers phone calls only. So if you're serious about making this Nova yours, be ready to have a good old-fashioned phone conversation. All in all, this 1963 Chevrolet Nova is a solid project car with a clean title and a lot of potential. If you're up for the challenge and have $4,500 burning a hole in your pocket, why not take a chance on this classic beauty? 11. We've got a real treat for you, a 1964 Plymouth Belvedere that's just begging for a new home. This classic beauty can be yours for $13,000, and let me tell you, it's got some serious potential. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This Belvedere is a project car. But hey, that's half the fun, right? The seller is upfront about the work it needs, and I appreciate that honesty. They mention that the transmission needs a front seal and the front end needs some new bushings. The directionals aren't working, and the interior and exterior aren't finished. But don't let that discourage you. This car has a ton of character and a solid foundation to build upon. Under the hood, you'll find a beastly 1968 440 2BBL engine, which comes with an Edelbrock 750 CFM carburetor. Paired with a 4-speed manual transmission and a Hurst shifter, this Belvedere is ready to tear up the streets. The seller also mentions a 3.25 Sure Grip rear end and thrush mufflers, so you know it's got some serious performance chops. The car has new brakes, wheel and master cylinders, as well as new wheels, tires, and shocks. And here's the best part, there's very little rust. That's a rarity for a car of this age, and it's a testament to how well this Belvedere has been cared for over the years. The seller even throws in some extra goodies, including a 1964 4113 block, heads, a reground crank, and other parts. You'll also get a windshield, dash with radio, fenders, patch panels, a trunk lid, window glass for the driver's door, and bumpers with brackets. And if you want to take this Belvedere to the next level, the seller suggests going full Richard Petty with a roll bar, helmet, and blue paint. One more thing, this Belvedere currently has horseless carriage plates, which will go with the car. That's a cool piece of history right there. 12. We've got a real gem for you, a 1971 Oldsmobile 98 that's in absolutely excellent condition. This beauty can be yours for just $14,000 to $8,500, and trust me, it's worth every penny. First off, let's talk about how clean this car is. The seller mentions that there's no rust at all, which is a testament to how well this Oldsmobile has been cared for over the years. The brown paint looks stunning, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. But this car isn't just a pretty face. It's got the performance to back it up. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that runs like a dream. The seller has done a complete tune-up, so you know it's in top shape. And with all new suspension and brakes on the front and back, This Oldsmobile handles like a modern car. The seller also mentions that there are many new parts on this car, too many to list. That's a good sign. It means that they've put a lot of love and care into keeping this Oldsmobile in top condition. Now I know what you might be thinking. A car this old must have a ton of miles on it. But get this, the odometer only shows 65,000 miles. That's incredibly low for a car that's over 50 years old. It's clear that this Oldsmobile has been cherished and well maintained throughout its life. And let's not forget about the style. The 1971 Oldsmobile 98 is a true classic, with its long, sleek body and iconic grille. This particular model is a coupe, which gives it an even sportier look. It's the kind of car that you'll be proud to show off at any classic car meet or cruise night. So, if you're in the market for a classic car that's in excellent condition and ready to hit the road, this 1971 Oldsmobile 98 might just be the one for you. At $14,500, it's a steal for a car of this quality. 13. We've got a real treat for you. A 1965 Chevrolet Corvair that's in excellent condition and ready to hit the road. This fun little cruiser can be yours for just $11,500 or best offer. And let me tell you, it's worth every penny. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Corvair. The seller describes it as being in excellent shape, and based on the details they've provided, I'm inclined to believe them. The car runs and drives great, which is a testament to how well it's been maintained over the years. One of the best things about this Corvair is that it's got a manual transmission. There's nothing quite like the feeling of shifting gears yourself, and it really adds to the overall driving experience. Plus, with new tires and brakes, you can feel confident that this car will handle like a dream. But this Corvair isn't just about performance, it's got style too. The green paint looks absolutely stunning, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. And inside, you'll find a new retro-looking Bluetooth radio, which is a nice modern touch that doesn't take away from the car's classic charm. Now, I know what you might be thinking. With only 12,000 miles on the odometer, this Corvair must have been sitting in a garage for years. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Low mileage means that this car hasn't been subjected to a lot of wear and tear over the years, which is a big plus in my book. Unfortunately, the seller does mention that they have to sell this Corvair, which is a shame. But their loss is your gain. This is your chance to own a piece of American automotive history that's in excellent condition and ready to provide you with years of driving enjoyment. 14. We've got a real beauty for you. A 1978 Buick Regal that's in great condition and ready to hit the road. This classic sedan can be yours for just $9,500, and let me tell you, it's worth every penny. First off, let's talk about the exterior of this Regal. The original black paint looks absolutely stunning, and it's clear that this car has been well maintained over the years. The seller describes it as being in good condition, and based on the photos, I'd have to agree. Under the hood, you'll find a 5.0L Chevy engine with a 4-barrel carb, which is paired with a turbo 350 transmission. This combination provides plenty of power and smooth shifting, making this Regal a joy to drive. And with only 88,000 miles on the odometer, you know this car has plenty of life left in it. But this Regal isn't just about performance, it's got comfort too. The black cloth interior looks very nice, and the seller mentions that the car has ice-cold AC, which is a must-have for those hot summer days. You'll also find tilt and cruise control, which are nice modern touches that make driving this classic car even more enjoyable. One of the best things about this Regal is that it's had a lot of recent work done to it. The seller mentions that all new suspension components have been installed, including control arm bushings, ball joints, springs, shocks, and rear trailing arm bushings. This means that the car rides and handles like a dream. And you won't have to worry about any suspension issues for a long time to come. Now, I know that some people might be hesitant to buy a classic car like this, thinking that it'll be a lot of work to maintain. But based on the seller's description, it's clear that this Regal has been well cared for and is in great shape. And with a clean title, you can feel confident that you're getting a car with a clear history. 15. We've got a real gem for you. A a 1975 Pontiac Firebird that's been hiding away in a warehouse for over 2 decades. This all-original Trans Am can be yours for just $9,500, and let me tell you, it's a find that you don't want to miss out on. First off, let's talk about the history of this Firebird. It was sold new in California and has had only 2 owners in the last 50 years. That's right, this car has been cherished and well-maintained throughout its life, and it shows. The seller mentions that it's been stored since 1997, which means that it's been protected from the elements and hasn't been subjected to daily wear and tear. Under the hood, you'll find a massive 6.6-liter 400 Pontiac engine that's paired with a turbo 350 automatic transmission. This combination provides plenty of power and smooth shifting, making this Firebird a joy to drive. And with a Posei rear end, you know this car can handle whatever you throw at it. One of the best things about this Firebird is that it's all original. The paint, interior, and numbers are all as they were when the car left the factory. And get this, it was a Copo-ordered car, which means that it was specially ordered with all the options. That's a rare find in today's market, and it makes this Firebird even more special. Now, I do have to mention that this car isn't in perfect condition. The seller notes that it needs a water pump and master cylinder, among other things. But honestly, that's to be expected with a car that's been sitting for so long. The good news is that the car runs, and with a little bit of TLC, it can be brought back to its former glory. The seller also mentions that this Firebird comes with a clear title and a bill of sale as is. They're not accepting any trades, holds, or deposits, which means that if you want this car, you'll need to act fast. It's only available on Saturday and Sunday, so make sure to clear your schedule if you're serious about making this Firebird your own. In conclusion, if you're in the market for a classic Pontiac that's got a ton of history and potential, this 1975 Firebird might just be the one for you. At $9,500, it's a steal for a car of this caliber. 16. We've got a real treat for you, a 1969 Cadillac El Dorado that's in good condition and ready to hit the road. This iconic luxury car can be yours for just $6,750. And let me tell you, it's a deal that you don't want to miss out on. First off, let's talk about the exterior of this El Dorado. The seller mentions that it's very straight and has no rust, which is a testament to how well this car has been cared for over the years. The paint is also described as being good, so you know that this car looks as great as it runs. Inside, you'll find nice seats and carpet, as well as a perfect headliner. It's clear that the interior of this El Dorado has been well maintained, and it's a comfortable place to spend time on long drives. Under the hood, you'll find the original 472 engine, which is a massive power plant that provides plenty of smooth, effortless acceleration. The seller mentions that the car runs and drives, so you know that this engine is in good working order. One thing to note is that the odometer has rolled over, so the actual mileage of this car is unknown. However, the seller does mention that it shows 38,500 miles, which is relatively low for a car of this age. And with new tires, you know that this El Dorado is ready to hit the road and provide you with miles of driving enjoyment. Now, I do have to mention that the seller doesn't provide a ton of details about the car's history or any recent work that's been done to it. However, they do mention that it's never been wrecked, which is a good sign. And with a clean title, you can feel confident that you're getting a car with a clear history. In conclusion, if you're in the market for a classic Cadillac that's got style, comfort, and plenty of power, this 1969 El Dorado might just be the one for you. At $6,750, it's a great deal for a car of this caliber. 17. We've got a real beauty for you, a 1976 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray that's in great condition and ready to hit the road. This classic sports car can be yours for $14,500, and let me tell you, it's worth every penny. First off, let's talk about the mileage on this Corvette. With just 95,000 original miles, this car has been well maintained and hasn't been driven into the ground. That's relatively low mileage for a car that's over 45 years old, and it's a testament to how well this Corvette has been cared for over the years. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful engine that runs and drives great. The seller doesn't specify which engine this Corvette has, but based on the year, it's likely either a 350 or 454 cubic inch V8. Either way, you know that this car has plenty of power and performance to offer. The exterior of this Corvette is in really good shape, with paint that has just a couple of little imperfections. That's to be expected with a car of this age, and it doesn't detract from the overall beauty of this classic sports car. The chrome wheels and good tires also add to the visual appeal of this Corvette. Inside, the interior is in great shape, which is a big plus. There's nothing worse than a classic car with a worn-out or damaged interior. But that's not the case with this Corvette. You'll be able to enjoy the ride in comfort and style. The seller also mentions that this Corvette has had some recent work done to it, including a new oil pan gasket, valve cover gaskets, transmission seals, and battery. That's a good sign that the car has been well maintained and is ready to provide you with miles of driving enjoyment. One thing to note is that this Corvette has an automatic transmission, which may not be everyone's cup of tea. However, if you're looking for a classic sports car that's easy to drive and doesn't require a lot of manual shifting, this Corvette might be perfect for you. The seller is also clear that the price is firm and they're not interested in any trades. That's understandable, given the quality and condition of this Corvette. And with a clean Arizona title, you can feel confident that you're getting a car with a clear history. 18. We've got a sweet ride from the golden era of American muscle cars up for grabs on Craigslist. Feast your eyes on this 1966 Plymouth Sport Fury, and it can be yours for just $4,500. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. The seller doesn't mention the overall condition of the car, but they do provide some juicy details about what's under the hood. This Sport Fury is packing a really strong original 383 Commando engine, which is sure to get your heart racing. And get this, the original 727 transmission has been rebuilt at a cost of $6,000. The seller even has the paperwork to prove it, so you know they're not messing around. One thing to note is that the odometer is broken, so the actual mileage is unknown. But the seller does mention that it shows 45,000 miles, which could be accurate or not. It's always good to keep that in mind when considering a classic car purchase. Now, here's the best part. The seller says you could totally daily drive this Sport Fury if you wanted to. That's right, you could be rolling up to work or cruising down the highway in this vintage beauty every single day. How cool is that? The car comes with steel wheels and tires, but sans the hubcaps. That gives you the opportunity to add your own personal touch and really make this Sport Fury your own. The seller is asking $4,500 cash or Venmo or a combination of both. They're also willing to send a video walk-around and driving clip, so you can get a better sense of the car's condition and how it runs. One important thing to note is that this Sport Fury has a clean Colorado title in the seller's name, so you can have peace of mind knowing that the paperwork is all in order. Overall, this 1966 Plymouth Sport Fury seems like a solid choice for anyone looking for a classic muscle car with a strong engine and a rebuilt transmission. While the odometer issue may give some buyers pause, the fact that you could potentially daily drive this beauty is a huge selling point. If you're in the Denver area and have $4,500 burning a hole in your pocket, why not take a chance on this vintage Plymouth? It could be the car of your dreams. 19. We're diving into a classic American muscle car that's up for grabs on Craigslist. Get ready to feast your eyes on a 1973 Dodge Charger, and it can be yours for just $3,250. Now, let's be real here. The seller is being straight up with us about the condition of this Charger. It's not in pristine shape, but that's to be expected for a car that's been around for nearly 5 decades. The ad mentions that it could use some floor panel replacements, and it comes with extra doors, which is a bonus if you're into restoration projects. Under the hood, you'll find a 360 engine that's clocked 96,000 miles. It's paired with a 727 transmission, so you know this Charger means business. The seller bought it as a rollerback in November 2017, and since then, they've added a newer exhaust system to give it that classic muscle car growl. One thing to note is that this Charger hasn't been driven in 3 years, so it may need some TLC to get it back on the road. But hey, that's part of the fun of owning a classic car, right? The seller is being upfront about the fact that this Charger is being sold as is, so you know what you're getting into. And if you're a serious buyer, you'll appreciate that the price has already been dropped to make it more affordable. Overall, this 1973 Dodge Charger is a solid choice for anyone looking to get their hands on a piece of American muscle car history. It may not be perfect, but with some elbow grease and a little love, it could be the car of your dreams. So, if you're up for the challenge, why not take a chance on this classic Charger?
20. We've got a real treat for you on Craigslist. Get ready to lay your eyes on a rare gem, a 1973 Oldsmobile Cutless Ford 4.2, and it can be yours for $15,000 or best offer. Now, let's dive into the details. The seller is upfront about the condition of this classic muscle car. It's listed as fair, which means it's not in perfect shape. But that's to be expected for a vehicle that's been around for almost half a century. The ad mentions that it's a solid car with little rust, which is a huge plus for any classic car lover. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 455 engine paired with a 4-speed manual transmission, giving you full control over this beast. And get this, it even has air conditioning. That's a rare find in a car from the 70s. The seller mentions that this Cutless 442 is a very rare car, with only just over 200 made. They even attached a video to prove it. Talk about exclusivity. One thing to note is that the odometer has rolled over, so the actual mileage is unknown. But hey, that's part of the charm of owning a classic car, right? The seller found this beauty in a barn, and when they put a new battery in it, it started right up, even though it's been running on 25-year-old gas. That's a testament to the quality and durability of these old-school machines. Now the seller is asking $15,000 or best offer for this rare find. They're being honest about not having room in their shop for it, so they're looking for someone who can give this Cutless 442 the love and attention it deserves. If you're interested, the seller prefers calls or texts over emails, as they can get lost too easily. So, if you've got any questions or want to make an offer, don't hesitate to reach out. In conclusion, this 1973 Oldsmobile Cutless 442 is a rare opportunity for any classic car collector or enthusiast. It may not be in perfect condition, but it's got a lot of potential and a whole lot of character. If you're up for the challenge and want to own a piece of automotive history, this could be the car for you.